story of Pennsylvania could not be written without a section dedicated to the Poconos. And today, it is the backdrop for the men and women of the ARCA Menards Series at one of the most unique racetracks on planet Earth, next on FS1. The green flag is out, and we are racing. 5 wide! Still grinding on each other. This is going to happen all afternoon. A little contact. Here he comes inside. Look at that push, side by side. Trouble. Oh, it is getting good. And we are racing in the ARCA Menards Series. One of the longest tenured tracks in the ARCA Menards Series. Welcome to historic Pocono Raceway, Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Home to race number 4, the General Tire hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. And it will be possible today to bring you this race on FS1 because Mother Nature is cooperating. Some drizzle earlier has given way to sunshine and a 70-degree evening. And we are moments away from the green flag. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Studio 43 at the NASCAR production headquarters. I am Dave Reef. Alongside of me, Phil Parsons. Great to have him back. And Phil, let's start by talking about racetracks generalities. There are ovals, there are 4 corners, yes. There are tri-ovals, and yes, there are road races. But today, Pocono is a tri-oval, but it's not unique. Far from it.
It certainly is. Normally we talk about ovals as having one end. Turns 1 and 2 are one end of the racetrack. Turns 3 and 4 are the other end of the racetrack. And you have to worry about getting in, through the center, and off each end of the racetrack. Not at Pocono. 3 distinctly different corners here, all patterned after famous racetracks around the country. You see right here, turn number 1, patterned after Trenton, New Jersey, 14-degree banking, a very, very fast corner, and then it leads on to about a half-mile straightaway into one of the more challenging corners in all of racing, the tunnel turn at Pocono, patterned after Indianapolis Motor Speedway, only 8 degrees, extremely sharp corner, and then the little short chute, about a third of a mile, down to the flat, sweeping Milwaukee-type corner, 6-degree banking, and that leads on to a straightaway of about 3/4 of a mile where they'll see speeds upwards of 180 to 85 miles an hour, Dave.
And that is our General Tire track description. Bottom line, what turn 4? Master these 3 turns. You can find victory lane today, but they're unique. So who do you think is uniquely suited to the challenge?
Well, some of these people I want to keep my eye on. The first one is Chandler Smith, and it's his birthday. 18 years old today. Already has 8 ARCA Menards wins under his belt prior to the age of 18. An incredible young talent. Already won this year at Phoenix back in March. And how about Sam Mayer? Believe it or not, it's his birthday. He's 17 years old. He's looking for that first ARCA Menards win, but he has an East win and a West win already this season in 2020. And how about Ty Gibbs? He won a couple weeks ago at Toledo in the East Series. Already 2 ARCA Menards wins under his belt from last year. Looking for that first win in 2020, and he will be tough. And also, how about this young man that did such an outstanding job at Talladega, Drew Dollar, 19 years old, his first time at Talladega, and he wins that race after finishing 3rd at Daytona earlier this year. Those are just 4 of the drivers I'm going to keep my eye on.
Well, you mentioned Ty Gibbs. Here he is suiting up, and he happens to be our Bounty Rookie Spotlight. A few moments ago, he was outside of that race car. Katie Osborne had a chance to talk with him.
Coming off of his win in Toledo, Ty Gibbs has been on the simulator every single day preparing for Pocono, so much so that he says his eyeballs hurt. How has all that sim prep paid off as we get here to race in Pocono?
Yeah, it's paid off a little bit. I've only got a couple laps in practice, but I feel like we've got 80 laps to give a shot to win this thing, so I'm pretty excited. I worked as hard as I could back at the shop, and so we'll see. We got 80 laps, and we got till lap 20, so we'll use a little practice, and after that we'll start racing.
Knowing that you're a lone soldier with Joe Gibbs Racing here today, and team strategy has really played a part in the wins in ARCA Menards Series, how does that impact your strategy?
Yeah, that doesn't really help us that much because it's us versus the whole field, so we'll see what we can do. I feel like I can have a shot to outdrive them, so we'll see. I'm definitely capable, and the car is definitely capable of doing it, so hopefully we'll have some fun, and we'll end up in victory lane.
Nothing like having that confidence that he can outdrive them. Ty Gibbs is starting 2nd here today in Pocono.
Any factors in the top 10 in the Bounty Rookie points after racing only 1 time. At the top, though, it's Haley Deegan. What an impressive run she's had. 2nd at Daytona, followed by a pair of 7s. She's making things interesting. $2, big win. It's going to be a 2-dog fight, it looks like here.
Yeah, without a doubt. Haley Deegan has been incredibly consistent, and that's no surprise because she was very consistent when she ran the West Series for a couple years.
Time now for the virtual command to fire engines as we catch up with the anglers from Team General Tire Fishing. Mark Rose, Skeet Reese, James Watson to get us started today.
Drivers, start your engines.
And how about that very unique way to get this race going? Just a little bit of time left before the green flag. Perhaps you're thinking about maybe something to eat during the race. Might I suggest a pizza? Well, pizza happens to be the subject of our General Tire driver profile. We ask some of these racers, what's your favorite pizza topping?
So I thought I was a deep dish guy, and then I went to Chicago, and I actually had this thin crust pizza that all of the Chicagoans told me to eat. It was awesome. That changed me to a thin crust guy. And I get pepperoni and pineapple on my pizza. Sore subject for a lot of people, but I like pineapple on my pizza.
I don't really have a certain preference of like deep dish, thin crust, whatever, cauliflower, whatever you want. It has to have pineapple and ranch. Has to have ranch. I won't eat pizza unless it has ranch on it. People are gonna hate me for that.
Oh, yeah. I love pizza. Look at me. I don't discriminate when it comes to pizza, but I am a pineapple on your pizza type of guy. I don't care what anybody says. They belong. It's good.
Has to be thin crust and pretty light on the cheese. I don't like a lot of cheese, pepperoni and bacon, and that's about as adventurous as I get.
The theme I'm hearing, Phil, is pineapple. You like pineapple on your pizza?
I do like pineapple. I also like banana peppers on my pizza.
That's where we're going to differentiate. Doesn't matter. We've each got a pizza. We're ready to go. The starting lineup will tell you who's on pole and a whole lot more when we come back to the General Tire. Anywhere is possible. 200. It's time for a party in the Poconos.
This racetrack is probably one of the trickiest tracks on the circuit here with three completely different corners.
Big crash back behind. It is always an adventure at Pocono Raceways. We welcome you back to the ARCA Menards series and the GT hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. As we start to set this field, Phil, let's take a look at the General Tire Pole Award winner. That's Dino, number 25.
Yeah, because of the pandemic, we were not allowed to qualify, but by virtue of being ahead in the car owner points, Michael Self will be awarded the pole, and he will get credit towards the end of the season bonus by winning this pole.
And his owner, of course, Kathy Venturini. That means Ty Gibbs' owner, Coy Gibbs, happens to be second in the standings. But Michael Self is only in this position, Phil, because of the save, literally heard and seen around the world last week.
Our entire industry was talking about this save at Talladega. Just 2 laps to go. They're coming down for the white flag, racing Riley Herbst in that 18 car, and they're going to get together here and watch him turn sideways about 115 to 20 degrees sideways, and somehow miraculously that thing straightens out. Watch this.
And all that at about, what, 180, 185 mile an hour?
And still finishes in the top 5.
Piece of cake. Everybody can do it, right? Little help from Riley, yeah. I don't know. I don't know if it was skill. I don't know if it was luck. But look at that front row. This time, though, in the 18, as I mentioned, it's Ty Gibbs that will be in that car today. As it's Toyotas in the first 2 rows. Drew Dollar, last week's winner, alongside of Chandler Smith in row number 2.
Brett Holmes having a great year, as well as Thad Moffitt back in row number 3. Thad moving over to the DGR Crosley team this year.
Haley Deegan will start inside of row 4 alongside of Ed Pompa. How about the 58-year-old Scott Melton, who decided to go racing at age 56? He's got himself a great starting spot, along with the NHRA champ, Tanner Gray.
Clay Greenfield's going to step over, do double duty this week, and also running the Gander Outdoor Truck Series tomorrow.
How many Pocono debuts do we have in the field today?
I think we have 9 of our 20 starters.
9 of them. There's last year's Bounty Rookie of the Year, Tommy Vi, who will start 16th. One of those rookies, Jason Kitzmiller, along with Sam Mayer, both making their Pocono debut. Again, happy birthday to Sam Mayer. What do you say we take a look at our onboards, Phil? We got 5 of them today to hang out with our 2.5-mile racetrack.
Yeah, we're going to have a great view. We're going to ride along with Derek Griffith and the Valvoline board. He's going to start 15th. That's the original Gourmet Lollipops Ford. He dominated the East race at New Smyrna before finishing second earlier this year.
Tanner Gray in car number 17 will carry the K&N Filters onboard camera. Starting 10th, he says he's had a lot of bad luck, but he's using this ARCA race as a great practice for the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series race tomorrow.
How about the General Tire on board for Chandler Smith, going for win number 9 on his birthday. He's going to start 4th in the JBL Audio Toyota.
And our Bounty Rookie Spotlight on board, Ty Gibbs. Boy, wouldn't he like to add to the Joe Gibbs racing history here today. We'll talk about that throughout our 200.
And we'll ride with our pole sitter, Michael Self. This is the Sinclair Lubricants Toyota, and he will be starting from the first spot, runner-up in points in 2019.
Well, if I go back to the first driver, Phil said to keep an eye on Katie Osborne. He mentioned Chandler Smith. You like that car as well?
That's right. Success has come early and often for the birthday boy of Chandler Smith, winning 8 of his 21 ARCA Menards Series races. But one track that he has not conquered yet, the Tricky Triangle. Last year, finishing 8th here at Pocono, he told me he really struggled to keep his front end from skating through turn 3. A good takeaway because, as he knows, nailing turn 3 is crucial to carrying that speed down that long front straightaway. Chandler also added that the cars are down 100 less horsepower from last year. He re-emphasized that momentum really is key. He feels he is riding on the confidence from the last time he was on track, winning Phoenix back in February and topping practice charts today. Dave, Phil, if he can get the job done here tonight, it would be an incredible 18th birthday gift.
Indeed it would. Now turn 3, hope he doesn't give up turns 1 and 2 to make it happen over there.
No, you got to make them all
It's
work
a tricky
for sure.
place. We all know that.
It is.
Well, here comes the field. We have 6 Toyotas, 8 Chevrolets, and 6 Fords ready to go racing here today.
You see that very dark part of the racetrack. That's traction compound that's been put down in all 3 corners, not on the bottom of the racetrack, the typical groove, but trying to create some more side-by-side racing.
And how many times do you get to say this? Off turn 3, here they come to the green flag. And the General Tire, anywhere as possible, 200 is underway. Big jump by Michael Self in that outside lane. Chandler Smith comes along with him, but look already at Gibbs working on the inside of the racetrack, taking a peek at the inside of the Sinclair machine.
Yeah, love how these cars fan out going down into turn number 1. See down below the traction compound.
Give these drivers credit too. Again, limited practice, long straightaway, full field going into turn number 1. Got to be a tense moment.
Yeah, there's Sam Mayer trying to get by Thad Moffitt, trying to make his way up from the back.
Moffitt, who last week came from 21st to a great solid 6th place finish. Well, that's the gap between 1st and 2nd. Ty Gibbs staring at the Sinclair bumper.
You know, Katie was talking about the 100 less horsepower that these ARCA Menards cars will have now. That will probably promote a little bit more drafting than we've seen before as well.
Tanner Gray, talked about the bad luck here. Had some issues at Daytona again last week, falling a couple laps back. He has had an infraction and will visit pit lane already today.
He changed lanes before the initial start of the race. That will be a drive-through penalty. But the nice thing about it takes so long to get around this racetrack that he will stay on the lead lap. We know we're going to have a break as we see a good side-by-side battle here at lap 20, so he should be fine.
This is the 17 looking to the inside of Haley Deegan, knowing that there's still that drive-through penalty upcoming. But you mentioned a break, not only one break, but 2 breaks coming your way today. Lap 20, somewhere around lap 50 as well.
Oh, trouble already for Thad Moffitt. Looks like the engine has gone away.
A tough break for the grandson of Richard Petty. Richard, of course, winning the first NASCAR race ever contested at this racetrack.
Caution is out.
Already on lap number 2.
Yeah, Thad was running in the 9th spot. What a tough break for Thad. He's had a solid start to the season. Going to be a big break for Tanner Gray. He's going to be able to make his pass-through penalty and join the pack without losing all the track position.
Thad coming in with a lot of confidence. He says this is some of the best equipment he's ever been in. He's got a great starting spot, he says, but unfortunately you can see all the smoke pouring outside of that car. This is the guy that had the most experience of any of the 4 drivers in the GGR camp. Let's see if we can figure out where Tanner Gray went wrong here. Go on board with him. See if we can see that lane swapper.
He has to stay in this lane until he gets to the start-finish line. You see him move to the bottom of the racetrack trying to get underneath Ed Popper in the 12, and that is a no-no.
So an early caution due to Thad Moffitt has brought a stop although briefly. When we come back, we'll have things sorted out, and we'll be back to Green Flag Racing at the General Tire Anywhere is Possible 200. Don't go anywhere. And it is go time in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Majeski has the sights set on Herbst. The 22 steamrolling by. Riley Herbst dominated, but there's only one man heading to victory lane. Ty Majeski will win today at Pocono. Todd Gilliland finds himself 3.2 seconds ahead. Christian Eckes. This pit stop could change everything.
Blend line violation, and Todd Gilliland may have given this one up for that penalty.
This race belongs to Christian Eckes, his 5th win in 41 starts. And we welcome you back to Pocono Raceway. How about this race car, the 22 machine, the Lollipop Ride, the original gourmet lollipops of Derek Griffith.
I love that look.
Great. First it was pizza. Now I'm hungry for some lollipops.
Yeah, I'd love to have a gourmet lollipop.
Well, we are at caution currently. That is because the, engine expired, we think, in the 46 car. Let's check in now with Katie and more.
Dave, as you said, Thad Moffitt came into this race with a whole lot of confidence, but a very disappointing day for him as he tried to get into the pit box, but actually is getting towed back to the garage. Right now, what we heard was it was turning off by itself. I talked to crew chief Derek Smith, who said, I think the engine blew up. Of course, we'll follow this as we continue racing. Dave.
Let's go back and see if we can see when and where the problem set in. Already obviously going here, but there is a tremendous amount of smoke, presumably oil.
Yeah, he might have had some issues before where it may have been shutting off, but that looks like a catastrophic failure right there.
How frustrating is that, Phil? I mean, the pandemic, we talked about the 107 days off that was fresh off of the off season. You just want to get back into a groove, and he was getting into one, and now this happens so early.
Just so frustrating. You want to run all the laps. You want to run all the laps, and if you finish 4th, 5th, 7th, whatever the case may be, and that's not going to be able to see how good they could have been today. That's the problem.
Well, it is great to have racing back here at Pocono today, and guess what else is starting? How about Friday, July the 24th? That is when Major League Baseball has announced the 2020 season will begin, and Fox, of course, will be there beginning on July 25th with the Fox Saturday Night Baseball game. Couldn't be more excited about this. Great news for baseball fans across the country. It's great to have baseball back. And of course, America's home for baseball this summer, as always, will be Fox and FS1.
Yeah, great news. Baseball back.
It's been a little bit of a challenge all the way around. We've seen some soccer coming back. NASCAR's on a nice little roll right now. We'll get back in front of fans soon enough. But in the meantime, it's just great to have some fresh sports, something to look at on the TV besides the daily news.
That's for sure. Track crew does such an outstanding job getting this racetrack cleaned off there. But how about there's Sam Mayer, the 21, already up to the 8th position. We documented that he started way towards the back, already up well into the top 10.
Well, we knew he was going to be coming forward. Of course, he's one of those 9 drivers that talked about they're promoting a debut, and of course he's carrying some images from the A01 Foundation of Carson Wentz, quarterback from the Philadelphia Eagles. It's all part of the Capture Sports Marketing, the nonprofit involving NFL and NBA players, raising money, raising awareness for things that interest them. And in this case, the A01 Foundation is feeding children. It's taking care of physical challenges and illnesses, building sports complex in Haiti. That's what Carson Wentz is doing, and it's a great partnership.
Yeah, it certainly is. And Sam Mayer really excited to be able to carry that on board this 21 car.
Of course, Sam Mayer is a rising star. We already talked about some of his big moments already in 2020, right fresh off the heels of Daytona. We went to New Smyrna with the E-Series, and guess who won? Guess who he raced with?
Yeah, but there's Derek Griffith right there, that 2 car who actually dominated that race before finishing 2nd, but Sam ended up in victory lane.
And then the West opened up with business out at the Bull Ring in Las Vegas. Second verse, same as the first.
Another week, let's have another race. Great job by Sam out there with the the ARCA Menards West Series.
Youngest champion in any NASCAR series when he won that ARCA East Championship. He continues to be the ARCA East leader, and he is coming forward today in the Poconos. We'll be back, hopefully back to Green Flag Racing in just a moment. The ARCA Menards Series is back at Long Pond, Pennsylvania. It's the hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. General Tire says they can take you anywhere, thus, anywhere is possible. We're going to take you back to Green Flag Racing action. Michael Self has been the leader but he's been hounded by a couple of cars. We've only had basically a lap and a half of green flag action so far.
We talked about Sam Mayer making his way up into the top 10. Sean Corr was another guy that started way at the back and made his way up into the top 10.
This could figure to be a pretty interesting little 12-13 lap dash again with that break coming at lap 20. Could make this a little bit of a racy segment of the race. Track position being everything.
Yeah, these guys want to see what they have so they can make some adjustments at that break.
Boy, look at him bunch up here. Michael Self again. Great start. But here they come to the end of that 3,740-foot front straightaway into turn 1. Michael Self doing a little rear view driving right there.
Yeah, I think Ty Gibbs wants that lead. There's Chandler Smith of the 20 car moving in on Ty Gibbs.
We said the same thing at Talladega with Riley Herbst. Maybe that 18 car just wants to get out in front.
It spends a lot of time out front for sure.
Look to the inside.
That used to be a single file corner there, the tunnel turn, for years and years. How about Chandler Smith gonna make it 3 wide?
And just that quick, here comes the 20. You got a new race leader.
He just seized the opportunity if those two cars were side by side. Now Michael Self's gonna fight back to the inside. Chandler Smith's gonna move over in front of his teammate to let him get a little draft off him.
We thought it might get to be a little racy during this segment. Sure enough, it's proven to be true.
See Ty Gibbs up in the traction compound. Looks like there's some pretty good grip up there. We didn't really see in the abbreviated practice that we had earlier today, didn't really see any cars up there.
So now it is the birthday boy out in front as Haley Deegan gets past last week's winner, Drew Dollar. Look who's in tow, the 21 of Mayer.
Yeah, that's a battle for the 5th position. Now Drew Dollar's going to fight back on the outside as they exit the tunnel turn. Look at Sam Mayer's going to look to the inside, and he's going to make it 3 wide.
Boy, what a great run by the 21. Now it's the 22. Looking to figure out a way between the 15 and the 4. Dollar and Deegan.
There's some really good racing early on in this race, only on lap 11.
You're on board with Derek Griffith, one of the 9 drivers not only making a Pocono debut, it's his ARCA debut for Chad Bryant Racing. Chad Bryant says he's very impressed with this young driver. 23, actually kind of older compared to some of these kids. But he says he feels like they're a pretty formidable force. And they say they are going to win some races this year.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me a bit. As I mentioned earlier, he dominated that race at New Smyrna, ended up finishing 2nd. Good side-by-side battle here between Haley Deegan in the 4, Drew Dollar in the 15.
Dollar will get the spot. Deegan will hold on to 7. Deegan spending a lot of time at the Ford Performance Simulator over in Concord, North Carolina. We learned that basically how she spent her pandemic, getting ready for the next couple of racetracks on the ARCA Menards Tour.
Yeah, I love that these drivers have the opportunity to do that. We didn't quite have a simulator when I was getting into racing.
Still, though, Phil, these young kids, I don't know what it is. It's got to be more than just hand-eye coordination from a simulator. There's some talented youngsters out there.
Without a doubt.
Maybe they're just good parents.
Derek Griffith was going to take a look and is going to take a look to the outside. Ooh, no room. Haley moves up to block.
Haley's car straight true down this backstretch. That was a car that wanted to dart around a little bit at Talladega.
Yeah, a lot of times they will tow those front tires in a little bit, and that might make those cars wander. There's some speed there at Daytona Talladega, but you wouldn't do that here.
Let's go back and take a look at the pass for the lead, how the 20 driver was able to get the job done. He was in the right place at the right time, much like Drew Dollar was at Talladega. Saw everything play out in front of him. When the 18 and 25 decide to get a little racy, they leave the inside open. Here comes the 20.
So I'm going to take advantage of you guys running side by side and grab that lead.
Look at this. There's the 18 now. You go on board.
You see top left of your screen, Ty Gibbs is taking that lead back as we watch the replay of him losing the lead. There's another 3-wide battle. This is when Sam Mayer made his way up into the top 5. Exact same scenario for him.
Gibbs now half a second ahead of Smith, 1.6 back to Self. Then it's 6 seconds back. But if you want to lead a lap, it's like Oprah. You lead a lap, you lead a lap, you lead a lap. They're handing out lead laps right now. Meanwhile, look at Tanner Gray, who's raced his way from the back of the lead lap. He's already come back up to 9th, Phil.
Yeah, he made that violation at the initial start of the race, moved out of line before the start-finish line. Had to restart this race from the back, already back up into the top 10, going after the Griffith, number 22, for 8th.
What happened to Chandler? Looked like he kind of just lost some grip there and left the inside open for the 18.
Yeah, he lost some grip there through the tunnel turn. Again, a very extremely difficult and challenging corner. You see him way up the racetrack. Can't tell right now whether he just got tight or just got loose. Whatever the case may be, went up the racetrack, and Ty Gibbs took advantage of it.
That tunnel turn again in reference the age-agree banking, similar to Indianapolis for those of you scoring at home.
Michael Self has taken over the 2nd position. There you see him right there in the Sinclair, the green car, number 25. He's got by his teammate Chandler Smith.
Tell me why these cars look the way they do, Phil.
They're dog tracking?
Yeah.
That's for side force. They actually have the rear end in those cars, and they build that crookedness in these cars, that skew they call it in these cars, for side force and down force.
If you don't watch a lot of stock car racing, you happen to check in right now with us, you're thinking to yourself, what in the world's going on here?
Last year in the ARCA Menards series, it was kind of unlimited as to how much skew you could have. They put some reins in on that now, and there's a limit as to how much you can do that. We saw some mechanical problems last year because of people jumping over the edge with that, but now I don't think with the limited amount that they can do it, I don't think you'll see any problems.
Well, it is the 18 of Gibbs out in front. He has had the fastest lap of the race so far. And Katie, you have more.
Ty Gibbs has been working on that sim, as you guys were talking about, with drafting. He also only has had 20 laps at Daytona, but this is his first big track. As his crew chief, Mark McFarland, was talking about, this is part of his learning curve to get to the next level. They are actually treating this track as 3 tracks here. That turn 3, Gateway between 3 and 4, where Ty actually won. Turn 1 is like turn 1 at Gateway, a little more banking. In turn 2, he should be flat out, as that's how they would lose some horsepower. So this is what is going on in Ty Gibbs' mind right now, as he is trying to keep everyone from behind.
Got these DGR Fords teamed up again. Tanner Gray, Haley Deegan. Can they get together, make some momentum?
Yeah, right. Just now, Derek Griffith was able to get by Haley Deegan and brought Tanner Gray with him, so that moves them up to the 7th and the 8th spot.
You mentioned it at the top. Again, I think it's worth talking about. Daytona Talladega wide open. Can't do that here.
No, not the 3 distinctly different corners. We used to use all the brake we had getting down in turn number 1, but these cars are so much better. These General tires so much better. They don't have to do that now. They can drive all the way down, way farther than we used to even think about driving down there, and barely even touch the brake. Same thing in the corner. Just pedal the throttle a little bit through the tunnel turn, and then get off the throttle in turn number 3, that flat corner down there.
Brett Holmes has been quiet today, the driver of car 23. The Munford, Alabama racer that was positioned for his first win, just couldn't quite get through all of that carnage involving Riley Herbst and Michael Self. Still a solid 3rd place finish. Of course, Sam Mayer, we talked about the fact that he has improved his starting position already by 13 positions. Phil, just a couple laps to go between that first break. If you're a crew chief, what do you want your driver doing right now? What kind of input do you want?
Just tell me what that car is doing. Tell me what it's doing in each end of the racetrack. Sometimes you have to make a compromise, but at least you have the information on what that thing's doing. How does it enter the corner? How does it get through? How does it turn through the center? And how does it exit?
That would be each of the 3 ends.
So that's 9 different things they got to tell.
That's all. Piece of cake. Meanwhile, Gibbs got this thing on cruise control thus far. There's his crew chief, Mark McFarland, former racer himself, now turned crew chief extraordinaire. He's put together a pretty solid year between Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst.
Well, it looks like Mark McFarland from the eyes. That's about all we can see of Mark McFarland.
Presumably, yes.
They have done an outstanding job. Marcus was a great racer in his own right, too, before he stopped driving, started turning wrenches.
Well, that is the one thing he points to with Ty Gibbs and Riley Herbst. These guys that have been here with this team long enough. A lot of times there can be a communication gap, especially with these younger guys, but they've been around this program now 2 and 3 years. He says that's gone. They know how to speak the same language.
Yeah, and then the fact that they've had that continuity and they've been together, that just ramps up their learning curve and accelerates it.
Sam Mayer looking awful racy against the 23 car. Might he make a move here as we are working now lap number 19? Meanwhile, left side of your screen, the Bounty Rookie Spotlight on board with your race leader.
It might look easy, but you can tell by riding along with Ty Gibbs that he's working. You can see the bumps through the tunnel turn. That was the corner he was just in. You could see it in the steering wheel. See how flat this corner is. That car really looks like it's working well.
Across the start-finish line now, working lap 20. When will that caution come out? Can Gibbs hold on to the lead? Currently 1.8 seconds ahead of Self, who separated himself from birthday boy Chandler Smith. We've documented the battle for 4th and 5th between Holmes and Mayer.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs right now has really looked well. Once he got the lead, he opened up a pretty good margin on Chandler Smith, and then Self got by him, and then that lead is stabilized at about a second 3/4.
Tanner Gregg has moved up to 8th now. Gregg couldn't come at a better time for him as he's been very, very racy. The 5th fastest lap of this race.
This will be invaluable for Tanner Gray as he will run the Gander Outdoors Truck Series tomorrow with DJR Crosley.
One of 2 racers in the field today getting some extra laps, getting a whole lot of knowledge thrown at him, kind of like cramming for a final the night before. Not to say that I've ever done that.
Yeah, and his Truck Series crew chief Shane Wilson is working with Tanner too. Blake Bainbridge, which is his normal crew chief, is out on the West Coast.
Ooh, car out of the groove up there.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs came up on that car extremely quickly. I'm not sure that car realized he was coming as fast as he was. We've completed lap number 20. I would look to the ARCA officials to put that caution out here shortly. They said it would be on or around lap 20. Because we had that early caution, they may delay that a lap or 2.
How impressive is this for Ty Gibbs? He has now led laps in the last 9 ARCA starts.
Pretty impressive.
Kid's got talent, not too bad for a 17-year-old as that competition caution does come out. First of 2 breaks coming today. The other one scheduled for at or around lap 50. That's going to make this a very interesting race. Do not change the channel.
Yeah, they're not going to lose their position either. As long as they get back on the racetrack within 5 minutes, they'll be able to change 4 tires, put fuel in them, make adjustments, and will retain their position. It's a cost-saving move by the ARCA Menards officials.
Well, we mentioned Joe Gibbs, Grandpa Joe Gibbs, and his Pocono legacy. We'll talk more about that as Ty Gibbs has led the first 21 laps today. The General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible 200. Back in a moment. The first of 2 scheduled breaks in the General Tire, hashtag anywhere is possible 200 as cars are on pit road. I mentioned Ty Gibbs has been the leader throughout. Well, actually through the last 10 laps. We've also had Michael Self and Chandler Smith, but let's talk a little bit about what is happening right now with these breaks, Phil.
Yeah, you see the ARCA Menards official wave these guys over when the last car stopped on pit road. You can see we're going to have 2 5-minute breaks near the conclusion of lap 20 and around lap 50. They can have 4 crew members over the wall at any one time. You can change 4 tires and you can add fuel, but not at the same time. When they get done with the tires, then they'll go back and get the gas cans, fill it up with gas, and they can make some adjustments that they would make on a normal pit stop. Wedge, track bar, air pressure, stuff like put some tape on or off the grill. You can do stuff like that. And as long as you get back in line at the end of the 5-minute clock, then you will retain your position that you came on to pit road with.
Katie has more on our race leader, Ty Gibbs.
Ty Gibbs is one of those guys who is very quiet when he doesn't need anything, as crew chief says. He's also very good at telling us what he wants. Well, it turns out at this time they need to tighten it up. It is loose. They did that after practice as well. They need to do that a bit more. Meanwhile, Michael Self is getting 4 tires and they are packing it with fuel because they want to be done fueling. They also need to free it up. We're going to do 3 rounds up on the track bar. That's what's happening in the pits over here, Dave.
All right, thank you very much for that. Again, no rush for these teams. Just want to make sure you get your work done not only efficiently, but get it done correctly. Don't want to send a car out with a loose lug nut or anything like that. It's a good opportunity here, because now we're going to have another 30-lap dash, if you will, coming up.
Yeah, plenty of time to do what you need to do and make sure you just torque the wheels if you want. That way you know they're not over-tightened or left loose.
We talked about Joe Gibbs' legacy. How about 14 Cup wins, 1 Xfinity win, 1 ARCA win? Can he get his grandson, Ty Gibbs, in victory lane today? He will be the leader when we go back to Green Flag Racing at Pocono Raceway. Back in just a moment. Welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Phil, did you happen to see that NASCAR Cup Series finish from Talladega on Monday? Was that spectacular?
Yes,
or
I
what?
did. That was great racing throughout the entire race.
Now imagine if you actually could race twice on one weekend. Oh, wait, they're doing it? Right here this weekend at Pocono? That's
Love
right.
it.
Tomorrow at 3:30 Eastern on Fox, and then again Sunday at 4 Eastern on FS1. Last week was any indication, you might want to wear your seatbelt at home.
Well, we'll see 5 wide racing.
Yes, we will.
Especially down the front straightaway at this racetrack, maybe more.
Well, right now we see Ty Gibbs, the man who's been on point now for the last 10 laps. He's riding a little bit of momentum. Going back a couple of weeks ago to the Hers Potato Chips 200, the ARCA East event out in Toledo. He was able to pick up the win there.
And oh yeah, that is the 21 of Sam Mayer he's racing with. Nice job by Ty to grab that lead away on that late restart. These two young men seem to find each other about every time they race together.
So that is how you get a little bit of that momentum. You bring it here to Pocono. Yes, it is your Pocono debut. We mentioned 1 of 9 racers in that position today. But the grandson of Joe Gibbs already has a very tight-looking resume at age 17. It could only get better today if he can hold on.
And it's not his birthday. Most of the field, I think, is their birthday today. Sam Mayer, Chandler Smith, but it is not Ty's birthday.
Well, let's check in down on pit road. Katie Osborne, what have you got?
In talking with Billy Venturini, the crew chief on the number 20 of Chandler Smith, the birthday boy. However, is he throwing fireworks right now for his birthday out there?
No, we were terrible that first run. He did a good job on that one restart, got us the lead, but we're terribly tight. So we made a huge adjustment at it. If this don't fix it, I don't know what will.
How will that help him with his approach and exit in turn 3?
If he don't spin out now, he'll be pretty damn good.
All right, we have another session coming around. Phil, Dave, what's your take on that?
Well, it reminds me, Phil, of that ARCA Menards race, the debut out in Phoenix earlier this year. They weren't the best car. They pretty much said that. Billy Venturini, though, got his driver in the right position by race end. It was a dominating performance, though, for the 18 for much of the race.
Yeah, Ty Gibbs really dominated this race. Everyone thought that he was going to head to victory lane, but a late restart. With just 1 lap to go, you see, as they drive down off the racetrack, Chandler Smith runs through the middle, holds them all back, and grabs that win.
And that left a very sour taste in the mouth of Ty Gibbs, that Chandler Smith win. A taste that, of course, he could get rid of today if he can hold on and go the distance.
Well, no, he won't get rid of that taste.
No?
Because he'll never get that one back. He'll never get that one back.
That's a racer's mentality.
Yeah.
You need to think about that.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the GT Super Speedway Challenge, the race within a race, car owners getting involved in that. And look who happens to be the Speedway Challenge leader now in the clubhouse, thanks to Drew Dollar's win. It's Bill Venturini, the car of car 15.
Yeah, just 2 points ahead of his wife, Kathy Venturini.
It's all Venturinis at the top. How about that? Still, though, what, 5 races, including this one. So there's still a lot of time, a total of 7 races in that GT Super Speedway Challenge. Again, we're throwing out championships left and right. You get one, I even get one.
Yeah, I love that.
Here's all of the onboards, which, by the way, in the abbreviated practice, all 5 of these drivers happen to be the 5 fastest drivers. Granted, they did not get a plethora of laps, but they were showing the way.
It worked out well.
Yes, they did.
There's a really good chance that we will be able to ride along with the winner on his onboard.
Well, there's Kevin Reed talking things over. Crew chiefs sometimes getting together. We saw the Venturini clan getting together, setting up that big run at Talladega. As the 3 cars all got together, that set up the sparks that flew, and Michael Self was spun.
That's Christian Eckes right there.
Last year's champion hanging out.
Safe Light Autoglass. He drove for Venturini's, won the championship, now driving for KBM, Cowbush Motorsports.
It's the NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series. Oh, yeah, they're also racing this weekend. Well, what a place to be,
Only 5. Only 5 races. Xfinity on Sunday as well.
My goodness. Well, with that, We are set to go back to green flag racing, working now on lap number 24. Green back out, Michael Self on the inside as he was earlier, though it was the 18 that had the option. Let's see if the 25 can pull away again or if it will be Gibbs.
A really good restart by Michael Self. Ty Gibbs was the control car, but Michael Self did a nice job on that restart and is going to hold that lead into one.
Where Chandler Smith was fishing for an area to go, just couldn't find it. He'll settle into third.
I like the fact that that traction compound seems to have some grip. You saw those guys up in the darker part of the racetrack. Normally it has to have a lot of running on it to be activated, but it looks like there's some grip there initially. Ooh, look at the sun as they go through that tunnel turn.
Oh, and it is tricky. You're on and off again, the throttle there.
Yeah, Chandler had a moment, it looked like, through that tunnel turn that time. Number one, he probably couldn't see because we couldn't see.
Top two broken away. The 18 looking to the inside of the 25. Instead decides to settle into line. Boy, we've seen a lot of Michael Self. One thing we haven't seen, though, is a Self victory here at Talladega. Or Pocono, rather. Talladega, that's where we were at last week. We didn't see him win there either. We saw that great save.
Yeah. Coming off turn number one, headed down towards the tunnel turn. I want to see how bad the sun is, too, for Ty. As they exit that tunnel turn, there's Haley Deegan racing with
22 and Griffith for eighth.
Yeah, Haley got that spot. There's a good view of that sun for a moment. You can see how bright it is down on the windshields of those two cars.
Best finish for Michael Self here at Pocono, third. Trying to one-up that today, but he has got perhaps the best car in the field right on his bumper.
Yeah, good exit there by Ty Gibbs. Michael Self's going to try to use the entire racetrack to block him. Now Ty's going to...
Oh!
And this is with over 50 laps to go, we're doing this.
Gibbs, though, will not be denied. With a look to the inside, sideways. A little slide job, if you will. Gibbs back out in front. Wow.
The young man likes to lead laps. Good battle here. Haley Deegan and her teammate, Tanner Gray, battling for the 7th spot.
Mentioned Tanner with his bad luck, had a spark plug wire come off in Talladega, had an oil cooler leak in Daytona. Did finish 4th, though, at Phoenix. Still, though, would like to have a good finish to get that confidence heading into tomorrow's truck race.
There's the lollipop car there, the Valvoline on board for Derek Griffith for Chad Bryant Racing. Derek's doing a nice job. His first super speedway race ever.
Talked about taking notes, doing a lot of talking to other participants, watching preparations, but nothing can really prepare you until you actually get in the seat. And for more on the man, or the woman in this case, Haley Deegan, that the 22 is chasing, here's Katie.
The number 4 during practice, she said it was loose on entry, okay on the exit. Team owner David Gillihan said, was it all 3 corners? She said definitely turn 1. So David said, let's build some security in the car. I followed up and asked how that is going, and they said it's all right. Drop the track bar a little bit and put a wedge in there in hopes that that helps her here in the second half.
Thank you, Katie. Monster riding on the side of Haley Deegan's car this weekend. She finds herself in 8th, looking for that security.
Yeah, good corner there. Moves right up on the rear bumper of the 17er teammate, Tanner Gray.
Meanwhile, Gibbs now 1.6 seconds ahead of Self. We thought he was faster than the 25, and he certainly presented that he wanted to get around the dinosaur car, the Sinclair machine. It took him a little bit of time, and here's a look at how that pass ultimately occurred.
Going to get a little bit sideways as he exits turn number 1, but never cracked the throttle. He's opened up about a 1.5 second lead now. Watch this right along with him.
Got check time there for sure.
Got sideways and never lifted.
And whether it is Ty Gibbs or Riley Hurst, it seems like the 25 and the 18 have found each other a lot this year. I think Michael Self is even aware of who's driving that this weekend.
All he knows it's a black number 18 and it's fast.
So now 30 laps of the 80 are in the books. And Ty Gibbs, look at his best lap, cruising around this 2.5 mile tri-oval at almost 167 mile an hour.
And remember, these cars are about 100 horsepower off what they were last year. Our pole last year was in excess of 170 miles an hour for the ARCA Menards race.
And I know we talked about it earlier, but how did ARCA decide to take those 100 horsepower away?
Well, they combined a little bit because they combined the East and the West essentially as we watch this great battle for seventh between teammates. They have three different engines. They have the NT1 engine, they have the ARCA Elmore 396, and they also have the Yates spec engine. And they feel like with a tapered spacer on these engines, that will bring all three of those engines together as we see Hailie Deegan move underneath Tanner Gray in that battle for position.
And ultimately, that's going to make the ARCA East, the ARCA West, and the ARCA Menards series very racy places. So you're going to want to check them out any chance you get.
And you have some options as this battle continues side by side.
Deegan not going to give up any ground to Tanner. Tanner going to nestle up on the rear deck lid. I don't like it when it happens to me at 70 mile an hour on the interstate. What's it like at 160?
Well, Tanner just knows that's another car in his way, as well as that's what Hailie was thinking as well, trying to move up towards the top 5.
You mentioned his crew chief out hanging out with his brother, Tanner Gray, out racing Utah out of the ARCA West Series. So it's Shane Wilson today as truck crew chief. Shane Wilson tomorrow as part of the trucks. There's the gap. As you look forward for Michael Self. For more on the 25, let's check in with Katie.
Yeah, that number 25 is battling with Ty Gibbs, but interesting conversation between he and Kevin Reed. Michael asked how close with this car to Christian Eckes' car that he won last year with. Kevin said darn near identical. Kevin also said, I was going to bring Christian's, but this is a new car, and I thought newer is always better. Phil, do you agree with that?
Yeah, without a doubt, I totally agree.
And of course, Christian Eckes on the pit box in the Venturini area today, taking this one in preparation for tomorrow's NASCAR Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series race. Trying to lend support if he can. Oh, the 82 is off of the pace.
A lot of smoke coming out.
Sean Core.
Sean Core had a solid top 10 at Talladega last time out.
14-year journeyman out of New York. 2008 Super Dirt Week Pro Stock champ. But so far, it looks like that green flag is going to stay out. Meanwhile, Kevin Reed is taking a look at the data, trying to figure out how to make that 25 car a little bit better in hopes of catching that 18 car driven by Ty Gibbs.
You know, Dave, 4 or 5 laps ago, we talked about Ty Gibbs opening up about a second-half lead. Well, that's as stabilized. As a matter of fact, Michael Self has actually closed up a little bit. He's about a second and 2/10 behind right now. So once that lead got out there, Ty Gibbs actually ran a second faster one lap than Michael Self did, and then they've been very similar speeds ever since then.
You see about a 1.2-second gap back from Michael Self to Chandler Smith. Still Brett Holmes in 4th, Sam Mayer, the hard charger, if you will, a 13-position improvement. And when is that truck race? The Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series race tomorrow, 12:30 Eastern. Please join us.
Be a great show. Only 60 laps, 150 miles for the trucks.
Last week, Todd Bodine in the studio with Matt Crafton. Crafton will be racing in it. Bodine will be calling it. Second place is starting to become a question mark once again. Not sure if the 20's picking up the pace or if both the 20 and the 25 are picking up the pace. The 20 just a little bit more.
Well, Michael Self had a bad break. He caught a lap car going into turn number 3, and that cost him about a half a second. That's why Chandler Smith has been able to close that gap up about that half a second that Michael Self lost.
So who is it in a team, Phil, that has the bigger perspective? Racers want to race. They always want to pass cars. Is it a crew chief then that says, hey, listen, let's just mind this thing. Be cautious. We still got a break coming up here.
Just turn them loose. We need to see what those cars will do as hard as they can run them, because they know when we have that last break at lap 50, there will be no more pit stops, no more changing tires on those cars. So you're going to have what you have. So we need to make this almost 30-lap run to see what your car is going to do at the end of this run.
And it will be a 30-lap run to the checker after that. Katie, what you got?
As Chandler is doing all that he can to catch Michael Self there, the number 25, there are 3 words I talked to Chandler about about this week that he feels really describes him. First, humility. Second, precision. He said, the more consistent I've been, the better results, both on and off track. And number 3, edge. I can pinpoint where that edge is, and you better hope he could do that here today.
Well, the man with the edge right now continues to be Ty Gibbs, who's just led his 20th lap. There are still 45 to go. There's a break coming up. There's a whole lot more to talk about. Part of today's General Tire Anywhere is Possible 200. Back in a moment. Laps. That's what the General Tire #Anywhere is Possible 200 is all about for Tanner Gray out of Artesia, New Mexico. But Phil Parsons, he may have run out of laps depending on how severe the damage is on the 17 car. We are under caution due to contact. Let's go back and take a look and see what happened.
Yeah, he has severe damage. Listen. Pretty significant contact. He just got in the corner, looked like a little bit hard, and just tried to ride it out. That was turn number 1. We saw the right front tire with the top in. That means there's too much negative camber in the right front. That's the tilt of the tire in and out.
Well, you got the whole side of that machine,
yeah,
too.
that's going to be terminal. He just run his fastest lap of the race on lap number 36, the lap before he got into the wall.
Well, Tanner talked about his bad luck in 2020 with the ARCA Menards series, an oil cooler leak. Daytona had some spark plug issues in Talladega last week. Still was able to at least be part of the 3-car DGR4 team. And he, of course, one of 2 double dippers that he's not going to get any more laps of practice before truck racing tomorrow along with Clay Greenfield.
Yeah, but it's going to help. The 30-some laps he ran here will definitely be a huge advantage for him tomorrow.
You know, one of the things I want to ask you about, Phil, is, making the switch from a Chevy to a Ford to a Toyota. Are there really much driving differences between the manufacturers?
I don't think so. I don't think they drive much difference as we see Derek Griffin come into pit road. Remember, these guys are not allowed to change any tires or put fuel in, but they can make adjustments. It's a great time to do that, knowing that if the adjustment didn't work or you need more of it, you can come back in at lap number 50 and do some more. But I don't think that maybe some aero differences when you go to a place like Daytona, Talladega, maybe even some of the racetracks like this, there may be a little bit of an aero difference in balance between the different bodies, but for a driver, you really don't know sitting behind the steering wheel.
Well, Tanner, one of the youngest winners, youngest champion in NHRA history, always seemed to be able to go out there and make a mistake and learn from it. And, of course, we'll see how he handles this mistake here at Talladega in the ARCA Series when he goes truck racing tomorrow. But I expect him to learn from it. He's been very sharp.
Yeah, he's been solid, too, in the truck series. Had a great top 10 run earlier this year at Las Vegas, just outside the top 10 at Homestead last time out.
So talking things over with Shane Wilson, trying to figure out what, when, and where, and how ultimately that all happened. But the 17 is done for the day. So a tough break for Tanner Gray. I mentioned he did finish 4th at Phoenix, but that's the best so far in the ARCA Menards series for him. Mentioned his brother Taylor is racing out in Utah in the ARCA West Series. Able in a 2-year pro stock career to win a championship as well as grab 8 wins before deciding that pavement racing was the way to go for him.
Yeah, and he's really done an outstanding job. He was really, really good last year in the East Series. Got a win at South Boston early on. Had a bunch of top 5s, a bunch of top 10 finishes. Extremely talented young man, and he's just learning. You got to realize that even some of these kids that are younger than him have been racing stock cars and on pavement so much longer than he's been able to be in a car.
Not that you have a choice, but the question is Ty Gibbs, and we'll talk more about him as Tanner Gray's caught up with Katie.
Setting his fastest lap right before he hit the wall. Tanner Gray, disappointing day. You were frustrated out of Talladega as well. How do you feel right now knowing that it's just you can't put it into words?
Yeah, definitely bummed. But I guess that's the price you pay for being dumb. So it's 100% on me. I knew we were too free to start the run and just pushed the issue, and it's kind of too early to do that. So yeah, definitely disappointed with myself. Everybody from DGR Crosley brought me a really fast Ford Fusion, and I felt like we were going to be able to run up front once we made the right adjustments. And like I said, because that's the price you pay for being dumb. So go back and get ready for tomorrow and focus on the truck race and just try to be better there.
Yeah, this is what this ARCA thing is all about for a lot of these drivers. It's the development and the learning, Dave.
Well, and tomorrow for Tanner Gray, it is at 12:30 Eastern time. That's when the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series 150 from Pocono will come your way. I mentioned Ty Gibbs just a moment ago. Is that a caution do you think he wanted to see, or was he? It was getting pretty racy all of a sudden there when we were away at break.
Yeah, he was getting heated up for sure by Michael Self and Chandler Smith. So I think he might have wanted this little break here, see if let the tires cool off. Again, they need to know what's going to happen at the end of this run, because that's about the length run we're going to have towards the end of the race. So, you know, he had almost a 2-second lead at one time. Michael Self closed that up within a couple tenths of a second and brought Chandler Smith right with him.
So just inside of 20 miles before that lap 50 break. When you're going 160 miles an hour, it's going to go by pretty quick when that green flag comes back out. So it'll be interesting to see. Top three were really within about a second of each other right when Tanner Gray hit the wall.
Yeah, it was really good.
Stay that fast.
And I think what we talked about earlier, what the ARCA Menards officials have done with that new tapered spacer, taking about 100 horsepower out of these engines, I think it's made them a lot racier here. I don't think we saw the racing here last year that we're seeing today.
Well, we mentioned the menu here at Pocono. Looks like a buffet for a hungry man. There is so much action going on, whether it's trucks, whether it's the NASCAR Cup Series. We've even got an Xfinity Series race going on this weekend. It is jam-packed in the pits with race car haulers. If that's what you dig, then you're digging this. Absolutely.
How about a Cup doubleheader here on the weekend?
Oh, that's crazy, and I like it a lot. Absolutely. Well, we are looking to go green again here as we complete lap number 42. That'll make it about an 8-lap, give or take, based on ARCA Menards officials' dash to the finish. And look who's lining up in the 4th spot. We haven't talked much about Brett Homestead in that car number 23, quietly, consistently, just like he did in Talladega. He's right there to pounce.
And he's really been doing that now for over a year, Dave. Had a solid year last year, a bunch of top 5 finishes. Hasn't got to victory lane yet, but a bunch of top 5s, a bunch of top 10s, 3rd in points last year for Brett Holmes. He graduated college from Auburn University during the pandemic, obviously, like so many of our graduates that should have graduated in May. But what an outstanding young man. Works with his dad Stacy in their construction business and does a whale of a job driving a race car.
Top 10 in 18 of his last 20 races. Top 10 in the last 3 starts here at Pocono. So Brett Holmes, is today the day in the 65th start that he can finally get that first win. Sam Mayer, meanwhile, has moved up 13 positions in that good-looking AO1 Foundation car with Carson Wentz. And Drew Dollar is positioned well as well, coming off that big Talladega win.
I want to see how racy these guys are for these last 8 or so laps here to the second break.
Well, the first order of business, get a good restart. That'll set you up for this little 8-lap dash.
Michael Self has been really good on these restarts. Even when he wasn't the control car, he was good.
And look who was shot out there. It wasn't Michael Self this time.
Chandler Smith's going to jump to the inside, make it 3 wide.
And it's Gibbs that's going to be out front, followed by the 23 wide battle for 3rd.
How about
Haley Deegan's getting up there.
And Sam Mayer on the inside of Michael Self.
Drew Dollar with a look on the inside. It is go time here before break number 2.
You sure that we're not racing to the end of the race? We're racing to a break. Sam Mayer, Michael Self stay side by side as they exit the tunnel turn.
Sam Mayer talked about nerves coming into Pocono. It's always nervous energy, if you will, coming to a place you've never raced at before.
Sam slid up the racetrack just a little bit, but Michael Self gave him enough room. Look at Sam fight back on the inside as they draft down the straightaway.
Self with an evasive move, but couldn't hold him off. Now the 2 almost touch. Door handle to door handle. 3 wide.
Dollar's too high.
At the top, but he's too high. You called it.
Way up there. There hasn't been anybody up there other than Tanner Gray, it seems like.
Oh, and Haley Deegan steals a spot.
And here comes Brett Holmes as well. That white car right side of your screen.
You asked how racy they'd be. I think we're finding out the answer.
Plenty racy, I think.
Holmes trying to get back up. He restarted in the 4th position. Has given away a couple of spots, but he's going to find the going tough to get around that 15.
There's Derek Griffith at 22. Remember, he came down pit road. Chad Bryant, Paul Andrews made some adjustments to that 22 car. Looks like he's pretty racy right now.
Boy, and that is the wild card indeed for the original Gourmet Lollipops machine. Paul Andrews. He could definitely make a car go fast, and as good as Derek Griffith is, according to Chad Bryant, it could be a match made in heaven.
Remember, this is the first race at this kind of racetrack for Derek Griffin. Anything like this kind of racetrack.
And what's the most veteran racer on there? He's got like, what, 4 races here at Pocono? It's not like that is veteran status at a tricky place like this. Gibbs has now opened up a 1.3-second lead, but this is the best battle on the racetrack right now. The battle for 6th. Dahlman, the 15 car, holds on to it. Shadow start to grow long. The sun beginning to fade in the west. That should set up a very interesting final 30 laps too, with the break coming now in 4 laps. Give or take a lap or 2. Still 10 cars on the lead lap. Still Ty Gibbs out in front. He's led 30 of the 45 laps so far.
So he gets about a 1.5-second lead early on here, and then those guys are able to chase him down a little bit later. But only 5 laps to go till this next break or thereabouts.
Brett Holmes crew chief Shane Huffman. We talked about Mark McFarland, the crew chief for Ty Gibbs. What do they both have in common?
They both raced for Dale Jr. and Junior Motorsports.
Isn't that cool?
In the Xfinity Series.
Both have become pretty formidable crew chiefs as well. Huffman hoping today to get Brett Holmes to that first win.
And Mark McFarland was the first driver ever for Junior Motorsports back in 2005.
Katie has more on the 23. What's going on with Brett Holmes, Katie?
Well, finishing 3rd in Toledo, finishing 3rd at Talladega. He said he is not satisfied with finishing 3rd anymore. Last time he was actually in victory lane was in late models, and he's definitely due for something big. He's had 6 starts at Pocono, and he feels that he has more experience than most, and that experience is really going to need to come into play. As he also said, Pocono is tough. It's different, and every corner counts.
Last 2 races, he's finished 3rd. His car number is 23. Coincidence? Simply pointing that out.
You're searching for something there, Dave.
Digging a little bit, yeah. That is a fact. Closing moments here of the second part of this race.
Yeah, it looks like Ty Gibbs, who has our lead now by over 2 seconds. His car liked that little timeout to cool the tires off. He's consistently faster now than our second place running Chandler Smith.
Gibbs with the fastest lap at 54.4 seconds now. As Drew Dollars begin to extend that lead for 6th over Brett Holmes. As the 22 of Griffith has faded. Will there be any late second part heroics? Will the 21 try to chase down Michael Self? Let's learn more on what's going on with the 21 as we check in with Katie again.
Well, the 21, I'd like to take it back to last year where he said he actually felt a little bit bullied on track and he knew he needed to be a little more aggressive. Now taking it into this race, he said those first 40 laps he was going to settle in, but then he was going to pull out that aggressive card and make smart but aggressive moves in the second half of the race in the last 40 laps. His crew chief right now is telling him that it's all about the entry and it's all about the exit and coaching him to be consistent. So while he's trying to be aggressive, he's also trying to make those smart decisions, as his crew chief is helping him with.
Right now, that 21 car riding in 4th. Haley Deegan putting together another solid outing. That's the Monster 4 car that's right behind the 21.
Yeah, I think this is the best Haley's car's been the entire race. This is the most competitive she's been, running some really good lap times.
Coming down now to complete lap number 49. That means we're about a lap away from looking for that next yellow. Everything seems to be pretty well spread out between Gibbs, Chandler Smith, Michael Self, Mayer, and Deegan, the top 5. Mayer now adding one more position on his improvement from his starting spot. He's passed 14 cars to get up into position number 4.
Yeah, he's close to within about a second of Michael Self, who's running in the 3rd spot. But right now, about a 2-second lead for Ty Gibbs in that monster car.
Crew chief on the left.
These guys are getting a good feel for what their cars will do on a 30-lap run, which is what we're going to have to finish this race. So they should be able to make some educated decisions on what kind of changes possibly to make. I wouldn't do a whole lot of changing to the 18 car, though, Dave.
Well, whatever they did, it seems like has worked for the youngster. Trying again to add to that Gibbs legacy here at Pocono. 1.7 seconds ahead of Chandler Smith. You see the green light on the side of the racetrack. Still at speed right now is Hailie Deegan. Looks like might be making a run on that 21 car. Battle for 4th.
We'll talk about Gibbs adding to the Gibbs legacy. The Gibbs cars, GGR has won 4 of the last Cup races here at Pocono. Denny Hamlin, our most recent Cup winner here last year.
And there is the caution flag. It comes as we are completing lap number 51. So the cars will settle in behind the pace vehicle. We'll get the field all situated. And soon we'll be coming to pit road one more time for those final changes. What will they make and how will it affect the outcome? It'll be a 29-lap dash to the finish when we come back and settle today's General Tire Anywhere is Possible 200. Lots more racing to come. Welcome back to the picturesque Poconos and the General Tire hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. Race number 4 for the ARCA Menards series now at break number 2 on a beautiful evening here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Cars on pit road right now gives us an opportunity, Phil, to talk about our Richmond Water Heaters mid-race recap. Ty Gibbs has basically been the story, but it didn't start that way. Started this way.
Look at all the drive. That's Ty Gibbs laying on pit wall. Look, I guess it's a groundhog. Is that
Punxsutawney, Phil?
I think it might be Punxsutawney,
I don't know how close
Phil. He's from this area,
yeah,
right?
He's from here, right?
Now,
Michael Self, though, from the pole. Again and again and again, we saw early that 25 with plenty of power.
Yeah, just rocketed out there. Thad Moffitt on lap number 2. Engine expires. Tough break for that young man.
And here's that restart, lap number 9 again. Look at the cars with a little skew. Michael Self doing some defensive driving, baby. Dancing around, but getting that lead again. Holding Gibbs off before the 3-wide battle left the inside lane open for Chandler Smith. Birthday boy to the front.
Chandler goes to the front. Ty Gibbs is going to fight back here. Then Chandler has the lead. He's going to lose the front end up off of turn number 1. Look how slow he is compared to Ty Gibbs as he motors by.
First break comes at lap 21. A chance to change tires, add fuel, make some minor modifications. Brings us to the next restart. Great drag race side by side between Michael Self and Gibbs.
Another good restart by Michael Self. He's going to grab this lead from Ty Gibbs. But shortly thereafter,
hold on.
Ty Gibbs is going to get sideways and get by Michael Self to take the lead back.
Slideways for the lead. I like that. Tanner Gray, you right on board. Let's listen. Ouch. Brings out a caution on lap number 38. And yet another restart. This time it's Gibbs on the outside. Didn't allow pedal first.
Yeah, Michael Self did not get going like he had on the early ones, and that's going to put him in the middle of a 3-wide battle for second.
How close was that 3-wide battle between the 21, the 25, the 23, and the 4? 4 cars getting involved in that. It was about that close as Sam Mayers made the biggest move of the day, plus 14, but the man who's led 37 laps so far is the one that leads them to the second break. Caution back out on the racetrack. Final modifications being made as Ty Gibbs continues to be your lead. 11 cars on the lead lap.
Yeah, pretty competitive. We only had like 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap here in the 2 races last year.
The other leaders besides Ty Gibbs, Michael Self led for 11. Chandler Smith led for 4. And the point leader, make it interesting against Gibbs. It's like he will restart 3rd. Let's check in down on pit road with Katie.
Phil, you said it before the yellow. You would not make a lot of changes to that 18, and the crew chief, Mark McFarland, agreed. He said they would just tighten up one more time, 4 tires and fuel. Meanwhile, on the number 20 of Chandler Smith, before the break under green, he said, off the tunnel turn, my exit is terrible. Billy Venturini said, is your center better? He says, I have to chase it back up the track. The solution, 1 pound of air out of the left rear, add air to that right rear tire. And they need to fix that twitch on entry. So those are the things that they're working on with Chandler Smith, in addition to 4 tires and fuel. Dave?
Now, a twitch to them would be a totally different thing to me. I've learned race car speak. I would be absolutely terrified. You have nailed it, Phil. Well, those final modifications will be made. We expect cars to be back on the racetrack at Pocono when we come back and wrap up this Anywhere is Possible 200. Heading toward a picture postcard finish today at Pocono. The ARCA Menards Series and the General Tire hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. The place if you like stock car racing, including those NASCAR, Gander, RV, and Outdoors Truck Series. The 150 from Pocono coming your way at 12:30 Eastern tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, what a great season we've had so far. But Grant Enfinger, the only guy with any wins that's running for the points. But look around the cut line. Remember, 10 guys. They increased from 8 to 10 the number of guys that will make the playoffs. Look how tight it is there. Brett Moffitt just 5 points ahead of the cut line. But look at Matt Crafton down there below the cut line, and Rafael Lessard and Stuart Friesen both below the cut line. Some of these guys below the cut line, Dave, will make it into the playoffs. Who does that mean is going to come out of the playoffs? Because they're all good trucks.
Crafton, part of the ARCA coverage last week with Todd Bodine. He'll be calling the action. It's the Gander RV and Outdoors Truck Series 150 from Pocono tomorrow, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, right
There's
here.
Todd Gillen's truck right there at the Crosley Brands Ford for Todd Gillen. Outstanding season he's had when he kind of basically moved away from KBM back to the family team. Even Front Row Motorsports also involved.
Of course, it all leads to the double header for the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's talk about the best win percentage, if you will, in the ARCA Menards Series, and we focus on Chandler Smith. Why is that? Well, because he has got himself a stat line that is pretty solid. 21 starts, 8 wins, 38%. It's pretty solid against some other household names, including the guy 97th in that list. 97th, Phil? 25%? Come on.
Dave, that's not right. I don't know why our stats people threw that on there. I mean, that's 25%. That's pretty good. That's got to be in the top 10 or 15 or something like that. Not
Hall of Fame numbers. Hall of Fame numbers in my
I think Benny was out to get me there for some reason.
Chandler Smith, beyond that, 15 top 5s, 20 top 10s, 8 poles. He's led laps in 17, now 18 of the 22 races that he has entered in the ARCA Menards Series, and should be a force to be reckoned with. Looks like he's going to line up on the inside, as Gibbs has selected the outside here as we get set to go green here with 27 laps.
Yeah, and who has made the right adjustments? If there were any adjustments made, did Billy Venturini make the right adjustments? Is Chandler Smith going to be able to give this Gibbs car some competition?
Venturini's trying to team up on the field, getting in that line in Talladega. Is that sort of, can you do that here?
Not as much. You know, whenever you get out of the throttle, then drafting is not quite as important as running wide open. But nonetheless, these are long straightaways, 3/4 of a mile, over a half mile, a third of a mile. So drafting does come into play, but you have to be able to get through these corners.
Last week's Drew Dollar, or winner at Talladega. Drew Dollar, right place, right time, perhaps the best seat in the house to see that crazy finish. It started with Ryan Repko on the front row as Riley Herbst pushed him out to the early lead, and then he had to do a little defensive driving early to hold on before the mid-race break.
Had a mid-race break, much like what we have here, a couple breaks here, but you see Haley Deegan actually pushed Riley Herbst to the lead, but Michael Self and Riley Herbst are racing for the win, and Michael Self got unbelievably sideways.
Just a 1/10 of a second win at the stripe as Dollar is able to get the job done in only his 5th race. Venturini, and Venturini. Actually 4 in a row going back to Kansas City last year when Christian Eckes took the win, grabbed the championship. You want to go one step further? About Venturini domination, 16 of the last 23 ARCA Menards Series
Yeah, that's
races.
pretty incredible for sure.
But Ty Gibbs could change that today. Put another one in the column for the Gibbs camp. Chandler Smith, he could certainly, add to the Venturini cause. The green flag is back out in the final 26, and we got one spun around right away. It's the 97 car.
That's Jason Kitzmiller was doing a really nice job running up in the top 10. A short tracker from West Virginia, had a top 10 finish at Talladega. I was noticing that he was doing a nice job staying on the lead lap, staying up in the top 10, and obviously somebody ran into the back of him and turned him around at this restart.
That's Cody Rohrbaugh's car. Jason coming out of Maysville, West Virginia. You mentioned that good finish at Talladega. Did not find solace in losing the lead pack, but said they did race smart. They did learn. It looks like that learning perhaps today here at Pocono might come to an end.
Yeah, and it certainly is not going to be his fault, I don't think, unless he missed a shifting that got run into from behind. But I think without a question, somebody tagged him from behind and turned him around. As we take a look at Ty's crew chief, Mark McFarland. We've talked about Mark. No issues here. Just a few less laps that he's going to have to stay out front here under green with his caution flag.
Let's go back and see if we can figure out what happened to the 97. Watch the back of the field.
It's going to be about mid-pack, yeah.
Right there.
I'm not sure that there was contact, Dave. When I looked up and saw him get sideways, it may have been a situation where he just jumped on the throttle and one of the wheels spun a little bit more than the other, and it turned him sideways.
So obvious damage. He'll have to climb out of that race car. Looks like we'll need a tow truck perhaps to get him back to pit road. So back under caution now. That should make things even that much more interesting. You know, we talked about Ty Gibbs looking to get his second ever, actually make that his third win, wins at Salem, wins at Gateway, but this is his super speedway debut, and he is in the catbird seat at this point, but he's had victory snatched from him a time or two, just like Riley Herbst has.
Yeah, without a doubt.
We mentioned 9 racers in the field today making their first career start at Pocono. Some of them their ARCA Menards series debut, and Jason Kitzmiller's one of them. Other ones having some great days. Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer, Drew Dollar still running up front.
Yeah, a couple of those drivers up in the top 5, obviously led by Ty Gibbs, our leader. Sam Mayer right now being shown in the 4th position on our timing and scoring.
Frustrating situation, no doubt, for Jason Kitzmiller, who was on the lead lap.
Yeah, headed for a solid top 10 finish. But I think that's going to be terminal for him, unfortunately.
How cool was it for Drew Dollar to be able to pick up that win? He mentioned he was in the right place at the right time. It was just the closing laps, and he was perfectly positioned. But at age 19, picking up a win at Talladega.
Yeah,
how significant is that on a racing resume?
At Daytona when he finished 3rd, how after the race he was disappointed. He felt like he should have done better. Well, he, as you mentioned, he was in the right place at the right time at Talladega and really ran up front the entire race. He was in position without a doubt the whole race. And when Riley Herbst and Michael Self got together, he was there to be able to take advantage of it. And he worked with his teammate Ryan Repko extremely well, and they came through with a 1-2 finish.
You mentioned confidence. Drew Dollar talked about that when he talked pre-race with Katie Osborne before Talladega, and right now we're going to check in with Katie Osborne down at pit road.
Guys are talking about Drew Dollar there, but Brett Holmes is another guy that's trying to build this confidence. During that break, they pumped 4 tires, plus added a small piece of tape on the left side of that grill opening, and they added a little fuel. Shane Huffman, the crew chief, said they wanted to add weight early in the run. Interestingly enough, that first break, they raised that track bar, but that second break, they put that track bar back down. They need that track position if they're going to continue to build confidence within Brett to get him his first win in the ARCA Menards series.
64 starts, a bevy of top 5s, top 10s, finished 3rd last year. Still a question mark on what 2020 will look like. Still a question mark for all of us of ultimately what the body of work will be for 2020. So time will tell, but he keeps putting himself in the right position. Eventually that final domino is going to fall out of the way.
Yeah, there's Shane Huffman right there as crew chief, as we mentioned, one of the drivers, early drivers for Junior Motorsports, along with Mark McFarland. A lot of experience there on the box, and I tell you, once Shane got over there, things really started to happen. They've got some new equipment at the beginning of last year, and they had such a solid season with that 3rd place run in points.
So waiting to go back to green here, cleaning up the front stretch. Car getting turned around. Jason Kitzmiller just a few moments ago. Mature beyond his years. No doubt the 18 driver Ty Gibbs has that going for him. And he's trying to join a pretty exclusive list of Pocono race winners here that include Harrison Burton. Riley Herbst has done it in that car right there. Chase Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. They came across the finish line second last week.
Yeah, Chase Briscoe back in his championship year back in 2016. Grant Enfinger, our point leader in the Gander Outdoors Truck Series we were just talking about, a winner back in 2016.
Even a dirt track win for Craig Kinzer, the son of the king of the Outlaws, Steve Kinzer, who of course won an IROC race out of Talladega a bunch of years ago. So it certainly can be done. And again, with a 2.5-mile racetrack here, cars at pace, they believe that everything will be done there at the start-finish line. So it looks like perhaps we're going to go green flag racing here the next time by, and that will give us now 22 laps to go. With Mark McFarland, here's Katie.
The guy leading the team for Joe Gibbs Racing, Mark McFarland. You and I were talking earlier today about Ty Gibbs and his approach to the radio and why that stands out as a driver. What is it?
Yeah, he's real focused right now. He stays pretty quiet, and you can tell when he gets ready to race. He doesn't say much, and we've been a little bit loose. We've tightened him up every run. These guys on this Monster Energy team has done a great job. We just got to finish it out here.
What do you see in him as a driver?
He's got some talent. The biggest part is he stays focused no matter what's going on around him, and it's hard to shake him. So these guys are going to have their hands full here.
The best here the rest of the race. Phil, how important is being able to compartmentalize like that?
I think it is, but this young man has been proven. He's now led the most laps in his last 4 ARCA starts, so he's proven to be a pretty heady driver, and I really believe that really believe that he has the car, and he certainly has the ability to finish this off. We're going to have a little bit over a 20-lap run here to the finish, hopefully.
Well, one of those 4 starts was a win at Salem. He's hoping to duplicate that again. A car that has spent a lot of time on the podium, just doesn't have the number of wins to go alongside of it. Let's take a look at the ARCA Menards Series points as they stand at the moment. Drew Dollar now chasing Michael Self, has given a couple of back, but it's 17 back from first to second. But look at the log jam there, second, third, and fourth.
Yeah, all 4 of our top point contenders right now running up in the top 7 positions in this race.
Thad Moffitt, no more opportunities to gain points. Lap number 2. It's when he had a motor expire. And Ty Gibbs is in the top 10 right at the moment, despite only racing in just his second ARCA Menards Series race for the year. But that can all change. And we expect it too now with the sun going down. What will that do to the racetrack? Will it give it a little extra grip, do you think?
Maybe a little extra grip. It'll be a little cooler, probably, but there's a lot of grip in that racetrack. These General Tires have really done an outstanding job here at this racetrack. The lap times have not fallen off all that much here since the start of the race.
4 of our 5 onboard cameras still a part of this race. Tanner Gray hitting the wall, getting knocked out. You're on board. Sinclair on board. Michael Self, who finds himself in the 2nd spot right now. You see his career highlights on and off the throttle there, trying to get some heat into those tires.
Yeah, 8 wins here in only 42 starts. That's a pretty darn good percentage there as well. It's probably better than 97th, which was what I got credit for, Dave. 97th.
We were just having a little fun with that. That's all.
Michael Self also won 9 times in the K&N West Series. Excuse me, 8 times, and he finished in the top 10 in points 5 different years in the West Series. Now ARCA Menards West.
Well, last week our Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver was Drew Dollar. He went on and took the win. Are we the good luck charm that Ty Gibbs needs right now? He's the Bounty Rookie Spotlight driver here as he brings him off turn 4. Will it be the final green flag? That to be determined. One thing we do know for sure, they crossed the finish line here.
Needs a good 21 to go. Needs a good restart, and I think he got it. Look at him fan out there, at least 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide.
Gibbs leads him in the corner. Chandler Smith behind him. Look at Sam Mayer picking up a couple more spots. Mayer now the 21 car running second.
Michael Self back to the 4th position, lost a couple spots on that restart. Here comes Brett Holmes to the inside of Haley Deegan. Drew Dollar getting by the 22 at Derek Griffin. That's a battle for the 7th spot right there.
And look what we got going on up front. Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer. Somehow they're like, I don't know, magnets to each other. They find themselves on a racetrack a lot.
I think we'll see that for a lot of years to come. As a matter of fact, I did some little research, and 4 times those young men have finished 1-2. 2 each. Ty Gibbs 1-2, Sam Mayer 1-2. But they've run together a lot more than that, and something happened, and maybe they didn't finish 1st and 2nd. Remember Gateway last year. Ty Gibbs bumped Sam Mayer out of the way as we see Drew Dollar racing Derek Griffith again.
Had a battle for 7th on the racetrack. Dollar last week's winner. Can he get past 6 more cars?
He's going to have a hard time moving much farther forward. Those are some really good cars in front of him. Ty Gibbs has been so fast this entire race. Sam Mayer now in the best spot he's been in this entire race, in the 2nd position. Ty Gibbs that time a couple tenths of a second faster than Sam Mayer.
Mayer, though, with a big supporter in Carson Wentz, the Philadelphia Eagles quarterback, part of that AO1 Foundation, the new paint scheme that's on the side of that 21 car.
Let's also give a shout out to Maury Gallagher, the car owner of this car for Sam Mayer. Will have 5 trucks tomorrow in the field.
Oh, wow. That is a full day indeed. That car will feature different foundations throughout the year from Capture Sports Marketing, a nonprofit organization of NFL, NBA players trying to support their causes. Mentioned it earlier, the AO1 Foundation feeding children, part of the Kingdom Crumb Ministry, outdoor ministry, children's physical challenges and illnesses. Working in Haiti, building a sports complex, just trying to do good. Carson, of course, hopes Sam can get 1 position better. Regardless, though, solid day for Sam Mayer.
Yeah, he's a little bit quicker that lap than Ty Gibbs, about a tenth of a second. Just 1 little slip is all it would take, and there's a number of opportunities around this racetrack for that to happen.
3 different corners every lap.
Totally. And you've got, remember, there's 9 different places, going in through the center,
yeah,
coming
absolutely.
off. I think it looks like Sam's visibly catching Ty this lap. We'll see what timing and scoring says when they get to the start-finish line.
Lap times now in the mid 53-second range. The fastest lap by Sam Mayer.
Another tenth and a half.
7/10 of a second separating the top 2, Katie.
Yeah, the birthday boy is really giving it his all, with his spotter giving him small suggestions, those little games, and telling him you have plenty of time. But I did talk to Sam Mayer about running against Ty Gibbs. He said he has the best equipment. He's consistent and fast. And if you keep up with him, you've done something right. So speaking in his own words, Sam Mayer has definitely done something right today.
It's amazing what these young men have done. First time ever to Pocono for both these drivers. And here they are running 1-2.
The gap between the 2 now is that big. What will it be when we come back from break? The question of the Tire hashtag anywhere is possible 200. Can Gibbs hold on? Find out with us. Back at Pocono, where Sam Mayer in 2nd place, and car number 21 has his hands full. Chandler Smith in the 20 is trying to take it away from him here at the General Tire. Hashtag anywhere is possible 200.
Good corner that time for Chandler Smith. Both these young men celebrating birthdays. Chandler's going to try to get to the inside. Is there room?
Oh, wow, the closest of margins. The 20 on the inside is going to take the position away.
Trying to move way away from that 21 car, so he doesn't have the opportunity to side draft him.
The position race isn't over just yet. pass is complete. Chandler Smith is second, but all this has done, the battle between the two of them, has allowed Ty Gibbs to gap the field a little bit more. 3.1 seconds now with 12 laps to go.
You saw Chandler Smith wave out the window to Sam Mayer. That means thank you for racing me clean. Appreciate it. And happy birthday.
It's a jam-packed weekend. You see Xfinity on Sunday, part of a Cup doubleheader weekend, Saturday, Sunday. We've got the Gander trucks as well, but right now we've got to complete this ARCA Menards Series race. This time by the stripe, now 11 to go. Here's that battle for second. How close did it get?
I wasn't sure there was room for Chandler Smith. Look how close they are, Dave.
All that at 160 plus mile an hour.
Literally an inch apart. But Chandler stayed right there and got a good run up off the corner to get that position.
And now he's got the sails up as high as he can, trying to do everything he can to see if he can make a run at Gibbs.
Coming to 10 to go this time for Ty Gibbs. He's got almost a 3.5 second lead now. That battle for second between Chandler Smith and Sam Mayer cost those guys a little time to Ty Gibbs.
Bounty rookie on board with Ty Gibbs. As he comes by the start-finish line, 10 laps to go now. The gap between he and Chandler Smith, 3.2 seconds.
Chandler was a tenth and a half faster that lap than Ty Gibbs. He's going to need a little bit more than that, though. He's going to need probably 3 or 4 tenths of a second a lap to try to chase down this 18 car.
There's the view looking forward. Chandler Smith. You see Ty Gibbs. More on Chandler. Here's Katie.
The guy pushing to do everything he can to get to the front. The number 20 of Chandler Smith, after that move to second, Billy Venturini said, by changing your turn 3 entry to get the number 21, you picked up a ton of speed. His final thoughts, go get him.
There's Michael Self, the Sinclair on board, running in the 4th spot. He's fallen about 7 seconds off the pace right now and falling into the clutches of the 23 of Brett Holmes.
Cars that figure to be racing for position. Ty Gibbs is checking out of this thing. Gap that grew by 0.2 of a second that last 2.5 mile trip around this track. Battle for 4th. Holmes looking to the inside of the 25. Thinks better of it.
Brett missed that corner just a little bit as he was trying to get so close to Michael Self, Katie.
Michael Self's 4th race here. He said, taking it back, the first race it went well. That second one, he had a good car. That third time, he just struggled, specifically with turn 3. That became a real focus for him coming into this race. And talking with his crew chief, Kevin Reed, right now, he said Michael Self is actually very disappointed with his restarts. And they're not as much having problems with turn 3, but they're actually struggling with that turn 2, that tunnel turn. So that might be part of Michael Self's problem as he's trying to get up to the top 3 today.
2 third-place finishes. That race you talked about, the middle one there, came home in the number 11 spot. Right now, he's got a bumper full of the 23.
Yeah, Brett Holmes right now has a little bit better car than Michael Self. He can just find his way by. They have about a little over a second gap over the 6th-place car, Drew Dollar.
Generating a little run with the 23. Look to the inside here. Nope, not this time.
Maybe Brett can back up his corner a little bit and get a good solid run up off the corner, through the middle of off the corner, get a little bit of momentum and try to beat Michael Self into the next corner.
Smith had made up some ground, but he's given back a few tenths again. Still 3.2 seconds between the top 2. Less than that between this, the battle for 4th.
Yeah, I think it'll take something major for Ty Gibbs to lose that lead he has right now, or certainly a caution flag, and that's certainly not out of question. As Brett Holmes gets a pretty good run on Michael Self, pulls up beside him going into the tunnel turn.
And that is a change of position. Give the 4th spot to the Alabama racer. Salt Lake City racer now sees that gap between he and Holmes open up a bit.
See that white number 10 car on the left? That's Ryan Huff. He's had a solid run. He's gone one lap down, but right now running in the 10th spot. His best career finish was 12th, and that came last week at Talladega, so could be a career best for Ryan Huff.
Now Drew Dollar has his sights set on Michael Self. Last week's winner looking to close that gap. Maybe Michael's car not as good as it could be.
Yeah, maybe they made some changes at that break, trying to make it better, and it went the wrong direction. But he's obviously not as good right now as he was early in the race. Still will have a solid finish, even if he loses this spot to Drew Dollar. That's about as far down as he's going to go. They have a good cushion over Haley Deegan right now in the 7th spot.
If you are tuning in to watch Hoosiers, you will see it in its entirety following the conclusion here inside of 6 laps to go. Now call it 5 laps to go. Ty Gibbs with a 3.12 second lead. Still though, 5 laps. That's 12.5 miles. Lots of opportunities to make mistakes. Can't have any.
Ty has been pretty flawless this entire race.
More on the leader, Katie.
The spotter for Ty Gibbs, Hal Martin, is giving him lap times and trying to tell him that Chandler Smith is faster behind him. Now, that being said, he did say, save a little, you do have a cushion. It goes down to the next lap where then Ty Gibbs pulls out a faster lap and then Chandler Smith again. Phil, how challenging is it when someone is leading like this to try and stay controlled and not push it too hard?
I think it's just a matter of muscle memory. Just keep running the laps you've been running. He's been good. Chandler Smith might gain a 1/10 of a second, maybe 2/10 of a second, but that's going to be it. With only 4 laps to go and a 3-second lead, if he just stays on the racetrack, just keep doing what he's done for 76 laps, and he's going to be fine.
Well, let's flash back to Phoenix. Ty Gibbs was the class of the field there. He was quickest in practice, sat on the GT pole at 122 laps, but couldn't close it out.
Well, we had a late restart. That could change everything right now.
Yes,
I'm assuming if we stay green, he's going to be fine. All bets are off if we get a late caution.
Sun's still a factor there as you go on board with the 20 car, Chandler Smith. In fact, it was Chandler Smith that won that Phoenix race when he got around the 18 on that restart. Lap cars will be no factor for the 18. They quickly get out of the way. 3 laps to go.
Right now, Ty Gibbs said, please no caution flag. Let's just run this thing out to the end and we're going to be fine.
Imagine being the grandson of Joe Gibbs. Hall of Famer in the NHL, Hall of Famer in NASCAR. The great Pocono legacy is part of his race teams. 14 Cup wins, 1 Xfinity win, 1 ARCA win. He's hoping to double that for him today.
Yeah, Riley Herbst went to victory lane with his Barry number 18 car a few years ago.
Still lap times right around 55 seconds. 2.7 second lead the last time by the scoring loop.
Yeah, I think Ty backed off just a little bit. Just a little bit of insurance. There's Derek Griffith. Good debut here on the Super Speedway for Derek, running in the 8th spot. The original Gourmet Lollipops forward for Chad Bryant.
Good time to set the stage here, Phil. 28 times, the last 28 times here at Pocono, a different winner. No Pocono winners in the field. Ty Gibbs hasn't won a Pocono. My math says that'll go to 29.
And you know, 17 of those 28 winners are regulars in one of the 3 top series in NASCAR, either Trucks, Xfinity, or Cup.
This is Chandler Smith, still 3 seconds behind, inside of now 2 to go. He definitely will need a caution and some luck should that caution come. White flag in the air, 2.5 miles to go for Ty Gibbs. He's led laps in his last 9 starts, led the most laps in his last 4 ARCA starts. He's dominating the day.
Yeah, he will lead 65 laps when he gets back to the start-finish line of the 80.
Three different winners to start this 2020 season on the ARCA Menards Series. They all drove for the Venturini Motorsports crew. But not today. Coy Gibbs' team will not be denied. Just one more turn for Ty Gibbs. Onto the front stretch. Now sees the starter with the checker flag in his hand. And it is official. Ty Gibbs has won at Pocono. Not a bad way to make your super speedway debut.
What an outstanding drive for that 17-year-old.
You saw the big, deep sigh. Love to be inside of his head during those closing laps. But he kept it together, showed maturity beyond his years. Picked up his third ARCA win in just his 13th start. Won in Salem last September. Technically 2 starts in between. That's all it took him to find victory lane for that 3rd time.
Happy young man right there.
You don't look like Michael Self throughout the early portions of this race. Looked like he was in pretty good position, but it seemed like every one of those starts there was a drag race and somebody was getting the proverbial hole shot, if you were. Once Ty Gibbs got out in front, he showed that he really was the class of the field today.
Yeah, without a doubt, as we mentioned, 65 laps led.
Unofficially, Chandler Smith comes home second. Mayer, 50 position improvement. But the young man out of Huntersville, North Carolina will not be denied.
Bit of a smoke show.
We talked so much about the pandemic and everything that went on. I mean, it's tough for teams, not just drivers, but the teams, the guys that are used to working on these cars every day. Drivers love wins, don't get me wrong. They're almost, if not more important, more special for crews as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. Everyone, it takes so many people to put a car on the, to field a car, put it on the racetrack. And when you do it as well as some of these guys.
Look at that.
It's just fun to watch.
The setting sun in Pocono. The silhouette of your race winner, and now the smiling face. It's a glove drop. And how about this, Phil? The 6th time in the last 7 Pocono races, the winners, age started with a 1, a teenager. What do you do now? You celebrate.
That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
The only thing you got to feel a little bit disappointed by is just not having that roar of the fans.
Yeah, and all the drivers, since we went back racing during the pandemic, all the drivers have said the same thing. It's just not the same when you don't get out of the, when you can't get out of the car and hear all the fans holler.
For Katie Osborne, he certainly isn't going to give that one up. He'll take it.
Absolutely, winning 3 of his last ARCA Menards Series starts. Ty Gibbs has taken home the win here, a very well-deserved win at that. You told us you had to outrun everyone, Ty, and you did it through especially consistency. How much would you attribute that win to it?
First of all, I want to say sorry to everybody because I don't have my monster hat on, so I've got some pretty bad helmet hair. But, you know, it feels good to be back into the victory lane here at Pocono especially. It sucked to see Riley get wrecked last week by whoever that was, and then we come back here and win. So it was good revenge, and, you know, I just can't thank everybody enough. I can't thank everybody that's here. There's a ton of people in the grandstands, and my mom and everybody, Mike and everybody there. So I just can't thank everybody enough. This is a dream come true. You know, I've come to this track since I was a little kid. Now I come here and win, so... Feels good, man. Feels good. Can't thank these guys enough. They're my family. I love them.
You can see that smile on his face as he is waving to his family, Dave. It's really, for Ty, this is what it's all about, grabbing that flag and waving it proud.
Well, he may not have the monster hat, but he's got the checker flag, and soon he'll have the trophy to go with it. But we are not done yet at Pocono. Come on back with us on the other side as we wrap up an exciting ARCA Menards Series race. The smoke is settled at the General Tire hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. Climbing from that Toyota with his third series win, Ty Gibbs gets the job done in a dominating fashion, leading 65 of the 80 laps. Behind him, it was Chandler Smith, then the Chevrolets of Sam Mayer and Brett Holmes. What else strikes you?
Yeah, I think Haley Deegan, another consistent run for her, finishing 6th. Derek Griffin, his super speedway debut was 7th. Drew Dollar had some issue on the last lap. He lost a couple spots, and Ryan Huff with his best career finish in 9th.
We take a look at the finishers on down from 13th to 20th. Tough day for Thad Moffitt, who had an engine blow early. We saw Tanner Gray tag the wall here. Tanner Gray going to be part of the Truck Series race tomorrow, along with Clay Greenfield. Michael Self, 15 points better than Drew Dollar. Dollar coming home just a couple spots behind Michael, has kept that points race very exciting.
Yeah, I think it's going to be at least a 3-horse race this entire year. Brett Holmes, if he runs all the races, he's going to be right in there as well.
Well, Ty Gibbs, what a day it was for this man. 18 years of age and already a 3-time ARCA Menards Series
17
winner.
years old,
Is
right?
he 17? My goodness. I don't want to advance him too quick.
We had 2 birthdays today, one 18, one 17, but Ty's still 17.
I certainly am not going to check his driver's license if he even has it. You know how many of these guys don't even have their license yet, but yet they're allowed to go 160, 180 mile an hour around a super speedway?
And they do it well.
Well, Pocono, you have treated us very, very well as we congratulate. Well, look at this little guy. Great way to start the race, but it's Ty Gibbs that completes the day. The winner, the General Tire hashtag Anywhere is Possible 200. Join us again here on FS1 Friday, July 11th at 2:30 p.m. Eastern for the ARCA Menards Series race from Kentucky Speedway. For Phil Parsons, Katie Osborne, our entire crew, I'm Dave Reeve. Coming up next, former SCCA Formula 4 Series racer Gene Hackman stars in the movie Hoosiers. So long from Pocono.